On everybody, we are live today. Oh my gosh, sorry, I'm 2 minutes late to the stream, but that's okay. Had some setup to do here, but stoked to be here. Stoked to have you all here. What's going on at Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok and YouTube? Who do we have here? So here on Instagram, welcome Bounce the Book, Sufanes. Sure Six, yours drawn, something like that. Spacer Rudition. All right, very cool, very cool. Welcome here. How's it going, YouTube? Who do we have? So I didn't change the title of today's stream just because I was running late. So it's still, where to start as a beginner developer. So if you have comments or questions about where to start as a beginner developer, what tech stacks you should be learning, or if you're stuck and you need some insight or some further direction, go ahead and leave some comments below. But thanks everybody for joining. So we've got Herman, Dev, Fernie. Welcome everybody. What's going on? Ramprasad, Moat, hey, Aditya. Welcome. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Jason, full stack developer here at DevSlopes. I primarily work in the MERN stack, Mongo Express, React, and Node. And then I'm also the DevSlopes Web Academy instructor. So I work with students every day, helping them learn how to code. And then I also work with them to take those skills that they've worked so hard for and show them how to make money with it, doing freelance work or getting a job. So my job's not done until my students get paid. All right. So very important to me to reap the benefits of what you're learning. So, all right, here on TikTok, hey, dude, I like how you spelled it, dude. I'm trying to get a job as a full stack dev, but I can't get an interview. So, Balbithith the greatest, however you say that. How long have you been coding for? Are you how long have you been doing full stack? Are you, just starting out? Are you brand new? Do you have prior job experience? Let me know. Leave a comment below and I can address that a little bit better. Let's see, what do we have here on Instagram? Let's see which one to select, Angular or React. So Deep 11.3. If you are coming from like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, first let me tell you the difference between React and Angular. All right, React is a UI library. Okay, it is strictly front end and it's for DOM manipulation. All right, that's it. That's all it ships with, is just some front end UI stuff for DOM manipulations. Okay, Angular is an end-to-end solution. So it ships with all your front end DOM manipulations. It ships with routing, routing throughout your app to go to pages. It ships with that. Okay, React, you have to install it like React Router. The and also ships with all the backend tools that your HTTP requests. React doesn't have any of that. It's all custom setup. So React is a much lighter library. All right. And then you can kind of cherry pick what you want to use, like other, shenanigans. Whereas Angular, very bloated. It just ships with things. And maybe more than half the stuff you're not even going to be using. So I consider it a bloated package. So another thing is React will use JavaScript in a way that you're already familiar with, okay? Whereas Angular has a much steeper learning curve. You have to learn TypeScript, which is a superset of JavaScript. And then Angular also has very, very specific syntax to it, only found in Angular. So anything you want to do or build, you're going to have to Google every freaking thing for the first several weeks or months until you start understanding how Angular works and their syntax. So they're both fantastic, all right? But React is a much smoother transition for sure. All right. Okay, so probably a year, and I've been self-teaching myself and no computer science degree job experience. All right, so man, I can't pronounce your username, Bolby the greatest. So that's just fine. So do you have on the job experience or like a portfolio? So one of the things that a company is going to be looking for is type of projects that you have under your belt. So the experience is great, but they want to see professional experience. Okay. So if you started out freelancing and you got some paid projects under your belt, that's going to look impressive to an employer and be like, wow, somebody has paid this person to build something. All right. And so it adds validity to your portfolio. All right. In your GitHub, your portfolios, all the projects that you're doing, don't include um, any tutorial projects. All right. Nobody cares if you built something by following a tutorial. They want to see you create something from scratch. All right. So do that. And then also the other thing, two things to recognize here is I don't know what your resume looks like. All right. But your resume is a big deal. And a developer's resume is different than anybody else's resume. All right. There is a way to strategically organize your resume. All right. Because employers, when they're looking for a developer, they're going to spend 15 to 30 seconds reading your resume. And if it doesn't catch their interest, then they're just going to skip over it. So that's one of the things that we do at the DevSlopes Academy is we do all that career prep. All right. We help you strategize your resume, strategize your LinkedIn profile, teach you how to work with recruiters, negotiate salaries, teach you what to expect in the tech interview, and then also work with you through that technical interview. Because the developer position has anywhere from like 4 to 6 or more, interview step processes. Okay. It's way different than a regular job. So if you're not being able to get interviews, I would revisit your resume. I mean, if you want to check out the DevSlopes Academy, you can go to devslopes.com/apply and you'll have a one-on-one mentor like me to work with and someone to review everything, your portfolio, your resume, your LinkedIn, all of it. Okay. Let's see. I have some projects, but guess they're not good or creative enough. Not sure what to build. Freelance. You've got to freelance. Having people pay you to build something adds a lot of credibility. All right, Instagram, YouTube. I'm going to get to you in a moment, so stick around. Now, C. I'm learning C++ now on school. I think I'm dead. Yeah, C++ will kill you. Like if that's your first introduction to programming, that's ridiculous. C++ has one of the most insane learning curves of almost every programming language. All right. And you're learning that in school. So I imagine maybe you're going to school for a computer science degree. That's what I hate about computer science degrees. They're a joke because all they're going to teach you is like enterprise or low level languages. But do you even know what kind of things you can build with C++? All right. So C++, you can work on embedded systems. You can do like robots and whatever rovers that go to Mars. You can build AAA games like Call of Duty or the Blizzard games like World of Warcraft. So C++ is used when you need something that is highly performant and very, very fast. All right. Anything else, if you're using it for web development, game development, other than AAA games and other regular apps, it's insane overkill, and you shouldn't be learning C++. There are much simpler technologies to use to build mobile games, websites, and if you want to do machine learning or AI, you're going to want to learn Python. So you need to pick a learning path, what it is you want to do with programming, and then that will determine what you learn. And I hate it how people spend $80,000 or more for college to tell them what to learn, and then they don't even enjoy it. Plus, college isn't going to prep you with the skills that you need to be successful in the job industry. All right. It just doesn't prepare you. Self-taught developers have 10 times the hands-on experience in 1 year than a computer science degree grad in 4 years, most of the time. Okay. Let's hop over to Instagram. What do we have here? Everybody on TikTok, stick around. I'm going to get back to your questions. So I know you TikTokers only have like a 3-minute attention span because that's how long your views are. Oh, TikTok. I love it. Okay. Let's take some YouTube questions. Let's get some love over here. Hey, Philip, what's going on? Good to see your face. As if I don't see it enough. Um, all right, let's see. Rapper said, "Hey, I want to know how to make a master web page admin and normal user in JSP. I don't really know what that means. Make a master web page admin. I need more specifics. I don't know what you're trying to accomplish. Opinions on Svelte JS. I have no opinions because I have never used it. I've heard of the programming language, and to be honest, I don't even know what it's used for. Like if it's a web development, a backend, like what? Like I said, I spend most of my time in the MERN stack, and I am familiar with a slew of other programming languages, but Svelte specifically, never dived into it. Opinion on .NET 6 and Maui. Again, I have never used those programming languages. I'm sure they all serve their time and their place and solve different problems. Um, yeah, so Prod S, finish HTML, CSS. What next? React or Vue? All right, so that's a great question. That's going to determine on what you want to do with programming. All right, so if you want to do freelance work, okay, React or Vue is both a great choice. They both are a UI library and they both use JavaScript in a way that you're already familiar with. Now, if you're looking to get a job, then you're going to want to learn React. All right, because React has been more widely adopted. It's gaining a lot of traction in larger companies. Okay, like computers. As a full stack engineer, we used React, right? Whereas Vue, it just hasn't been widely adopted yet in companies. So you're not going to find a job as a Vue.js developer. I mean, there might be a startup out there looking for a Vue.js developer, but the market's very, very small for that. So again, if you're looking to land a job, learn React. If you're just wanting to do freelance work, either or is better, or either or is fine. And what kind of projects should I work on to get an entry-level job, a full stack web app, or just a website with a good friend? You should build full stack apps. If you're looking to get an entry-level job, which kind of follows up with your previous question about React or Vue, so it sounds like you're going to want to learn React. You're going to want to build a full stack app, okay? Because that's what's impressive to an employer, to see you working with APIs and databases. All right, so you need an app that can do CRUD operations, create, read, update, and delete records. And some really, really good projects is, let's see, do a Slack clone. All right, do a Twitter clone where you can make posts and tweets and like and favorite junk. Do an Uber clone. You can do that, and then if you really just want a front end project to show off your JavaScript skills, build a battleship game in Node.js. Just make it a Node game, run it in Node, and have it do all the logic. You can use the readline sync package, so it will ask you questions about coordinates that you want to, attack and whatnot. So you can do all of that in Node, and that would be a good project as well. But again, don't do tutorial projects, okay? Nobody cares about you adding a tutorial project to your portfolio. They want to see things that you figured out and that you created. All right. So, and then also with the entry level job, don't search for an entry level job, just search for a web developer position. Let the company decide where you're at as a developer and whether or not you're a good fit. All right. Do not do a search for junior web developer. Okay. Get the junior junk out of there. Just search for a web developer. And yeah, let the company decide how good you are. All right. Dakota Wall. Also wanted your take on a path looking to do web and AR VR dev, went HTML, CSS, and fundamentals of JavaScript. Now more advanced JavaScript, C# and .NET frameworks. So what I would do if you're doing AR and VR stuff, you're going to want to learn Unity. Unity 3D, it supports all that stuff. And oh shoot, I haven't worked in Unity 3D for a while, but I'm almost positive. Somebody clarify. Call me out in the comments if you need to, but I'm pretty sure Unity 3D uses C#. Like, I'm like 90% sure. Okay. So you should be learning Unity 3D and C# if you're wanting to do AR and VR. And Web and AR and VR are two entirely different realms. That's a lot of technology to take on. Like, you don't want to oversaturate yourself. Like, if you've been practicing web development for a good year and you're proficient in it, then sure, venture out into something else. But if you're a beginner and you've been doing this for, 6 months or under, it's very stressful to start picking up all these new programming languages. It's just too much. I'm a self-taught developer. All right. I tried to do that, and you just cannot retain the information the way it needs to be retained. Hiba, Fatima, are some people just not made for programming? It's possible. Okay. I think nowadays programming has gotten to a level where anybody can learn how to code. Okay. Anybody can learn how to do it. So, like in the Web Academy here at DevSlopes, we've got people who are in the trucking industry, people who work at restaurants or the food industry, um, delivery, people like Amazon or whatnot. So, and they're all learning how to code, brand new skills. So, there are some people that might not be, made for it, but programming has really gotten to a point where I think anybody can learn it. Let's see. Are you guys also rating projects? Rating projects. I don't know exactly know what that means, but in the DevSlopes Academy, all of my students at the end of each module, they have to build a final project from scratch. They submit it and I review and grade their code. All right. So that's really cool because, I've worked in the industry. Like, I was a full stack developer at Dell. And so I'm literally going to do a code review and I'm going to give you feedback on it. Like, this is good practices. This isn't the greatest practices. Here's a cleaner way that you can do this, or other things that you can consider. And so I review all my students' projects and give them feedback, which is amazing. Do you computer science degree grads have somebody, a professional individual in the work industry, review your code? I didn't think so. All right. Is it must know math because they give you logic tests before boot camps to see how you can pass? So math in programming, you do not need to be like a rocket scientist, okay, or some mathematician. It's basic math. Um, basic algebra. Okay. Nothing too complex. Every single job that I've ever had has not required complex mathematical algorithms or anything like that. It's all super basic. Ava Plain is learning Redux Saga at the moment. That's awesome. That's great. All right. TikTok. I'm going to get to you here in a moment. So stick around. I'll answer questions. Then Instagram. I'll over there. Kasif or some basic data structures and algorithms, and I don't know which development track path to choose. Can you suggest something? Yeah. So what you should do is decide what you want to do with programming. If you want to build websites or web apps, okay, you're going to learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then I recommend React. All right. And then there's full stack, languages. I'm not going to dive into that right now. If you want to learn mobile development, if you have an iPhone, then do iOS development. Okay, you're going to learn Swift. If you have an Android phone, then learn Kotlin. All right. If you want to do cross-platform development, understand that that's really only with freelance work. Like, if you choose something like React Native or Flutter, that's really just okay. A lot of big companies, they haven't adopted that technology yet, so they want a native app developer. If you want to do AI or machine learning, then learn Python. All right. So that's just, kind of a handful of ideas of what you should learn. Okay. Tickers. Let's see. What do we have here? I'm an engineering background and learning about coding now, how to start freelancing. So what you need to do to start freelancing is it's really marketing and selling yourself. Like, you've got to be out there reaching out and letting everybody on this planet know that you can code. All right. So you can create an Upwork profile. All right. Put on there and create that, and then try to get jobs off of that. There's what's it called? Fiverr. something like that. That's another freelancing place. You can go make an account on there. You should be posting on LinkedIn. Any social apps that you're part of, like Facebook, join Facebook groups for freelancing or entrepreneurs or programming. Do that type of stuff. When I was freelancing, I went to a lot of events. This whole COVID crap is clearing up a little bit, and people are starting to, gather in small places. So go to networking events. That's what I did, like where entrepreneurs and business owners are gathering to show off their products. I go and I network at these events to meet these CEOs and entrepreneurs and business owners and say, hey, I'm a developer. Do you need software? Most of them do. So you got to market and sell yourself, and you have to be consistent with it. So SQL or no SQL, it really depends on the product that you're building, the way it needs to scale. Um, I've always been a Mongo person. I just like Mongo databases. They're super easy to work with, but it depends on you and the project and the requirements of it. What's your opinion on GitHub Copilot? Should I use it? I don't even know what the GitHub Copilot is. Maybe you could elaborate on that a little bit for me. What about auth and security practices are taken in mind while hiring juniors? So the authentication and security stuff, that's all done on back end. Companies do not hire for junior back end developers. I mean, think about it. You're new to programming. They don't want you touching the API, the database user information. Okay, like creating good authentication and security. That is not a junior level thing to do. You want somebody with experience, and so what you need to do is um, first you want to get in and, oh my gosh, what am I trying to say? First, you want to do a position and then learn full stack while you're on the job. That's exactly what I did at Dell Computers. I got hired originally as a front end engineer. And then while I was there, they needed some help with the back end. They knew that I was totally open to learning. So I mentored with the senior back end developer, and he taught me everything that I needed to do to build really robust and secure back end code. And so I left Dell as a full stack developer. What are your thoughts on Golang? I think it's good. I've never used it, never built anything with it. And honestly, I have zero interest in it, but it's a good programming language. Which math basics were overloaded? We're overloaded with basics for math. You just need basic math. Someone's asking C or C++ or C sharp. My question is, what do you want to code? Like those languages all take care of different things. So you really need to decide what it is you want to code, and that will determine what language you're going to learn. Do you have to learn full stack if you want to freelance as a beginner? You don't have to. So you can start out freelancing just building basic static websites. A static website is just a website that really doesn't do anything. It's just information, like a landing page for a business, tells you about the business, some of their products or services, maybe has their location and a contact form. All right. You can do that with basic HTML and CSS skills and maybe a tiny, 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 tiny bit of JavaScript skills. Okay. You really don't need that. But you're going to get paid more if you can do development. Most of the software that people want today requires full stack development, but there are opportunities available for just static websites with HTML and CSS. All right, Instagram. I'm going to answer one more question from TikTok. Then we're going to do Instagram here. Let's see. So you want to learn Android development. Should I learn Java or Kotlin? Learn Kotlin. That's what the Android community is pushing. You'll write, I want to say 40% less code with Kotlin than in Java. Kotlin has a much cleaner syntax and it's backwards compatible. So if you get hired at a company and they've built their Android app in Java, you can immediately inject Kotlin and start writing in Kotlin. So learn Kotlin. That's what the Android community wants you to do. Hey, I'm 13. I want to be a programmer, but I don't know where to start. Could you help? I'm going to give you some very basic instructions here. If you want to do web development, like websites or web apps, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and React. If you want to do iOS development, then you're going to learn Swift. If you want to build Android apps, then you're going to learn Kotlin. Okay, you've got to pick a learning path what you want to do with programming, that will determine what programming language you should learn. Okay, Instagram. Let's see where the last question left off. Juan, what's up? Okay, let's see. My WhatsApp number. Okay. Let's see. What's the difference between iOS 13, 14, and 15? Is that the code base changes on every release? So yeah, so Swift is the programming language. And with iOS 13, 14, and 15, the operating system on your iPhone might have new features to it, which means Swift has to come out with um, what's the word that I'm looking for? New methods or what to support those new features that came out on the OS. And so yeah, things change with all the time. That's the rough thing about iOS development is when there is an iOS update, it is very likely or possible for your code to break. And iOS courses and all that stuff have to constantly be updating to support the new OSs that are coming out because they even change Xcode up, like your text editor. They make changes to Xcode and the UI and what tools are available. Whereas one of the reasons I enjoy web development so much is because the old stuff hasn't really changed over 20 years. They just come out with new things to enhance, like JavaScript, for an example, or add more things to CSS. But there's no breaking changes. Like a website that you coded 20 years ago is still going to work with the latest browser versions. So that's one of the things I enjoy about web. Flutter or Kotlin, that is completely dependent on, do you want to build cross-platform apps? Use Flutter. Okay, Flutter's good for freelancing, not good for getting a job. If you want to learn Kotlin, yes, you'll be able to find a job as a Kotlin developer and you can do freelancing. Just depends on what you want to do. Call me Edis. Hey, sir, can we look or get some of your project or reference? Projects for reference: Slack clone app, Twitter clone app, Uber clone app, build a mini battleship game using Node.js. There's some projects. Is Django good and could I use it instead of Node? Django's fine. I'm a huge fan of Node though, and here's why. Because especially if you're doing web development, you already know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Node allows you to write server-side code in JavaScript, and you don't have to go learn a new programming language, whereas Django you would. So if you're doing web development, do Node. Node is my go-to for web development almost every time. It's very scalable. A lot of companies use it. It's a very amazing skill to have. And like even at Dell Computers, when I was a full stack engineer at Dell, we use Node. All right, what time is it? It's 4 o'clock. We got to wrap up. Let me see what questions here. So somebody's asking, as a beginner, can you join our programming free here at DevSlope? So we do have some free courses, just like intro courses, so you can get a feel for our teaching style. So just go to devslopes.com/free-course. And we've got a small crash course on web development, iOS, and Android. But if you really want the full experience, check out the DevSlopes Academy. You'll get one-on-one mentorship, career coaching, live weekly meetups, code reviews. And I'm going to work with you personally to learn how to code. And then I'm going to make sure that you get paid with the skills that you've learned. And to do that, go to devslopes.com/apply. And that does cost money, but set up a free call, see if the Academy's something for you. All right. I'd be stoked out of my mind to work with you personally. So do that. How long does it take to master coding in Swift, Swift UI, coming as a React developer? So that's interesting. Why are you switching from React to Swift? I mean, those are two completely separate things. That's web development and iOS development. Do you not like React, or are you just trying to expand your skill set? But I wouldn't say mastering coding. What do they say? It takes 1,000 hours to master something, or 10,000 hours. I can't remember. I think it's 1,000 hours. So that's how long it takes. 1,000 hours. And I would say, like, even me, like, I've been coding for 6 years. I wouldn't say I've even mastered coding. Coding is a lifelong journey. I learn things every single week about programming that I never knew before. I'm solving problems and using code in a different way to solve some solution that I haven't before. So to master it's a lifelong journey. I kind of think you'll never master it. You can become very proficient, but you're always going to be learning. You to wrap up with you, and that's what we're going to do. Let's see. Dakota says, thanks for the pointers. Both languages works and in advising a trim back on tech focus on for now. Thanks again. Awesome. No problem, Dakota. Thanks for those questions. Shroot Farms. I love The Office. Shroot Farms. I dig it. So is vanilla JavaScript actually used in the real world? Real job freelance project. How will mastering vanilla JavaScript fundamentals help in the real world? Absolutely. 100% it is used in the real world. If you do not know JavaScript, you're going to have a very, 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 very rough time finding a job or freelance work doing it. So for an example, in React, there's always the vanilla JavaScript stuff. Okay. Like anytime you're working with arrays, you're mapping through arrays, you're looping through, arrays of data, conditional statements, comparison operators, like you use all that stuff. These frameworks and languages, or frameworks and libraries, they're just kind of a different syntax to make working with the UI and the backend in some cases a little bit easier. But all of it is JavaScript under the hood. And to process anything, or for your code, your website or web app to make decisions, it all needs JavaScript. All of it's JavaScript. Is JavaScript going to die? Absolutely not. It is the #1 programming language in web development. All the browsers, they run on JavaScript. So unless the browsers die or choose some other run on, then yeah, JavaScript will die, and so will billions of other websites. That would suck. No, it's not going to die. Graphitics, I'm an experienced in machine learning, but only have a little knowledge of web dev. What should I do if I want to deploy machine learning models for people to use a website? Be an ideal choice. What's your advice? Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that because I've never worked with. I imagine you're probably working with Python for machine learning, which Python you can also do with web development. So I'm sure you could deploy that on a website. I just don't know the whole process how, but I'm sure it can be done. Oh my gosh, YouTube, I'm going to answer one more question for you. We're 5 minutes over. All right. Oh, I'm going to answer this one because I like talking about computer science degrees. Okay. Okay, we're going to answer this and then end it. Amir Khan says, can you describe how a computer science degree will help you in your development career? I know you don't preach much about college degrees, but still there will be some pointers that will be worth a degree. Honestly, a computer science degree will not help you in your development career. It won't. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's just a piece of paper. At the end of the day, all a company wants, all they want is somebody who can code. A computer science degree does not prove that you can code. In almost every case, someone with a computer science degree has less hands-on experience in 4 years than a self-taught developer does in 6 months to a year. All right. Companies just want people to code. Clients, if you're freelancing, all they want is somebody who can code. All these job listings that say required science degree, half the time it's crap. All right. I'm a self-taught developer. I got a job working at Dell Computers as a full stack engineer. On the job listing, it says required computer science degree, required 5 years of JavaScript, required 3 years of React. I had no computer science degree. I only had 3 years of JavaScript, not 5. And I only had 1 year in React, not 3. Guess what? I got the job. Do you know why? Because I could code. I went through the tech interview, the coding challenges. They checked out my portfolio, my projects, my code. They liked it. They hired me. Okay. A computer science degree also doesn't teach you, colleges won't teach you the skills that are necessary to be actually successful in the job market. Okay. So things as simple as version control and Git and how to use like NPM packages. Those are standard everyday things that you will work in any job, and they're the most basics. They don't even list it on the job listing to know Git or version control because it's expected. It's just expected. It's part of coding. But colleges don't teach you this stuff. So, anyways, a computer science degree, I don't believe will help you in your career. Yes, it offers a lot of depth about programming, but that is still something that you can gain over time as a self-taught developer. Okay. Companies just want somebody who can code. Anyways, amen to that. Okay. That's a wrap for today's stream. If you would like to work with somebody like me, get some mentorship, some one-on-one mentoring to learn how to code. If you want some guidance, direction, and accountability with all of that, go to devslopes.com/apply and check out our DevSlopes academies. We have it for iOS, Android, and for web. Again, that's devslopes.com/apply. I would be stoked out of my mind to personally work with you and help you make money after I've taught you how to code. If you want to expand your coding skills, DevSlopes has these super cool 30-day coding challenges. All right, go to 30daycodingchallenge.com and enroll for the next challenge that is coming up in a couple of weeks. We just started the most recent 30-day challenge, but the next one starts in a couple of weeks. So go to 30daycodechallenge.com. Whether you're a brand new beginner and don't know anything about code, or you have coding experience, all right, you can still join the challenge. So anyways, that's a wrap for today's stream. Until next time, stay positive, stay safe, keep coding, and that's it.